Hello, my name is Mr. Close, and today we will be discussing equivalent fractions. More specifically, how the strip diagrams can be used to visually demonstrate the process by which we generate equivalent fractions and explain why the result is equivalent. This is section 2.3. First, I want to start with defining fractions. For the fraction a over b, there are a parts, each of size 1 over b of the unit amount. For example, the fraction 3/4, there are 3 parts, each of size 1/4 of the unit amount. Or for 13/20, there are 13 parts, each of size 1/20 of the unit amount. Next, I want to describe strip diagrams. So strip diagrams are just a way for students to visually represent what they are dealing with. So for example, the fraction 1/2, they can visually represent this with a number line and using the strip diagram above. So the number line goes from 0 to 1, and you can see the strip diagram 1/2 visually representing the fraction 1/2. This is really helpful for students who don't have manipulatives, and they can use this to really just visually understand what they are working with. Now, for using strip diagrams to explain equivalent fractions, you can see the statement 1/2 and 2/4 are equivalent, but how can you understand that? So you could use it in the ways you were taught. We used to be taught of 1/2 times 2 over 2 equals 2/4. What you do to the denominator, you must do to the numerator. But if you use a strip diagram, you can draw 1/2, and then you can visually understand making equivalent fractions. For reference, since it's times 2, you can split the 1/2 block in half and get 1/4 and 1/4. Now you have 2 parts, each of 1/4 size. If you multiply by 3, you would just divide the 1/2 block into 3 parts. Now, why is this useful, this type of definition of fraction, strip diagrams, and that sort? So it helps students improve their number sense. It helps students understand the meaning of fractions. They can understand that it is the number of parts, each of what size, based on the numerator and denominator. So size 1/2 or size 1/4. They can visually understand what that is using strip diagrams as well, and it helps them visually compare fractions and understand why those fractions are equivalent when they can see that you are just splitting it into smaller and smaller parts. I know that was a really fast explanation of strip diagrams and equivalent fractions, so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.